What's up YouTube? Dale here from Zephyr, and today I'm going to bring you a test stand combo video for the Shining Dark Magician profile I showed you all the other day. So this is of course involving all the brand new cards, the Gazer Tamias, Dark Magician of Destruction, and I thought this would be a good video to show you how this deck can play, what it aims to do with the randomized hands, how far you can push, and the other options you have available to you. Now, as I said in the original Dark Magician profile, if you want to see more versions of this, like the Azamena version, or if you want me to try out the Shining Sark version, or even the Primite version, then let me know in the comments down below. But getting this video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, cool Ash Blossom, will unlock the next version for you. So I'm more than happy to do as much content as you lot want to see on Dark Magician, because this is the deck that I'm going to be taking forward in this format. I'm going to be looking to play it in Modern, I'm going to be looking to play it in Genesis. I will play other decks every now and then just to give me a break from the play style, and I think that's quite a nice thing to do when you have that option, is it lets you go back to like Exo Sisters or Dark Lords and kind of shake it off a little bit and then move in. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So what we'll do is we'll do one test stand going first, one going second, and then we'll do another one going first and another one going second. But in the second time, we'll be a little bit more negative. We'll give our opponent more interaction. So I'll show you what the deck wants to do in its maximum capacity with no interactions, and then we'll start taking into account some of the more commonly used interactions and how the deck can kind of play through it and around it. So our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is actually quite a cracked hand in a sense that we've got an interaction with Ash Blossom. We've also got a way to stop Nibiru defensively, but also aggressively as well. We've got Soul Servant that will allow us to stack the deck. As this hand currently stands, there is no point in stacking our deck because we're not going to get anything. But this is where Soul Servant can work so well with Dark Magician and Destruction. So we're going to go into the main phase. You're going to start off by firing off the Ready Fusion. You can try and use your normal summon on Magician's Rod to try and bait out an interaction. But to be honest, the only thing I'm missing here with this route of play is I've got access to the Dark Magician of Destruction. I've got access to my starter Magician's Rod, which can get me Gazer Tamias. I've also got Soul Servant that can get me Magician Souls. So even if my opponent was to interact with the Dark Magician of Destruction, I would still have ways to play, which is absolutely fine. So you start off by using Ready Fusion, and this is why I like Ready Fusion as like the most individual card. So I was asked the other day, would I take out Ready Fusion? And honestly, I would say no. And the reason that I say no to that is for the pure fact that when you're thinking about it, the Shining Sarcophagus, it could be ashed, right? It can be stopped outright. Your Dark Magician Girl and the Magician Apprentice can be impermed, it can be ashed, it can be veiled. It can stop you getting where you need to go. So obviously if you stop the Dark Magician Girl, you don't get your spell card. It makes it a little bit more awkward to get into Dark Magician Destruction. Now I'm not saying this is perfect, because at the end of the day they will still interact with the Dark Magician of Destruction if they have any of those effects. So if you're looking at it like the Shining Sarcophagus or the Azamena has cards that will bait out your opponent, that is very, very true. But what I like about this is just by paying 1,000 life points, like my opponent can't stop this activating and resolving. I get my sandwich. Straight away, I have access to get into my Dark Magician of Destruction regardless. So banishing off the sandwich, getting us access into our Dark Magician of Destruction. Now the worst thing they can do to us here is infinite impermanence it, but then as long as I can get this card to the graveyard, which I can link off anyway, it comes back to being Dark Magician, so I can use it as fusion material. But then if they interact with the Dark Magician of Destruction here, I go, okay, cool, normal summon Dark Magician's Rod, and then build on from there. If they imperm it, it gets a little bit more awkward because then my Soul Servant won't give me the draw until I get this to the graveyard. But again, that's absolutely fine. So again, because this is the first test stand, I'll show you what happens if it doesn't get interacted with. So for the Dark Magician Destruction, if you've already got Magician's Rod, I personally like to go for Gaze. I like to make sure that I've got this guaranteed first more than anything. Yes, of course, Soul Servant can get me to it. My Soul Servant, my Magician's Rod can get me to Dark Magical Circle. Dark Magical Circle can then be activated. I can chain Soul Servant to stack the Gazer Tamias back to the top of the deck. Of course, I could add Magician's Souls off of the back of this as well and use Magician's Rod to get me the Gazer Tamias. That's the only other benefit of doing that way round. But it's a little bit more risky, because if my opponent interacts with the Rod, which I don't know why they would interact to the Rod but not the Dark Magician of Chaos, but you never know. So just because Dark Magician Destruction can get you anything, you're probably safer actually going for Magician's Souls, because I've already got the Rod. And then what you do here is you go, cool, normal summon Dark Magician's Rod. This will grab you the Gazer Tamias. Happy days. then if there's any other card in your deck that lists Dark Magician that you want to add to your hand, you would activate the Soul Servant. If there's not a card that you want to add to your hand with the Soul Servant, I'd rather get the 2 random draws. And what I mean by that is, I'll use Magician's Souls to summon itself to the field. This will send Dark Magician from deck to grave. Yes, of course, I could summon Dark Magician if I want to, but I'm not going to. My Gaze is now live, but honestly, I'm just going to get like extra greedy with this hand to show you the max capabilities. So we're going to use Magician's Souls here. We're going to send the Soul Servant. We're going to draw a random card. Classic. Doesn't matter because that's just my discard fodder for Dragoon already sorted. Now, I can use Soul Servant, banish this because I've got Dark Magician on the field, but I've obviously got the Dark Magician in the graveyard to give me one more draw. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to choose to do the following. Now, I've got 2 options here. You've got option number 1, which is the Synchro route that I mentioned previously, where I can send Dark Magician Destruction and Magician Souls to the graveyard for your Chorozo. You would then Synchro these 2 up, and that gives you access to a FA Dawn Dragster. I'm actually going to show you a different route that kind of gets you, not a little bit more, but can kind of give you a bit more presence to the field. Like the base minimum you can do is you just want to get your Dark Magician or Destruction to the graveyard, and then you can get your Magician's Rod to the graveyard and go into IP Masquerena. You can get a little bit more greedy if I really, really wanted to. Like I could have used Gaze of Timaeus to push me one step further, just to give me that additional draw. But I can get the randomized draw now off the Soul Servant. And the benefit of this one is if I draw into Shining Sarcophagus, I can upgrade this field even more. So let's rewind this a little bit because this will dictate on the randomized draw. So we get the randomized draw. If it's Shining Sarcophagus Engine, acts nearly just about the same, to be honest. Because how would I want to do this? I can go one step further. So what we'll do is we'll special summon down the Timaeus United Dragon. We'll put Magician's Rod to the graveyard. We'll use Timaeus United Dragon's effect. We'll fusion these 2 together. So Dark Magician plus a Spellcaster. This is the greedy option, okay? I'm not saying you do this all the time, but this is a greedier option. This will get you into the Dark Magicians. And then what we're going to do is we're going to activate Gaze of Timaeus. This will allow us to put the Dark Magician Destruction back into the extra deck, which is where you don't need to rely on 2 of that card. And then that will let us spawn out our Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Now, on a new chain, we can trigger off the Dark Magicians, and this is going to allow us to draw 1 more card because we activate a spell card. Dominus Impulse. It's a shame we've got 2, but again, we've got the free discard fodder of Dragoon. It's not really that big of an issue. And then what we'll do here is we'll set a Dominus Impulse, and we'll kind of just pass our turn there. So what's going to happen now is if a spell track card effect is activated in general, whether it be your opponent or ours, we get to draw a card. So whether I activate Dominus Impulse, whether they activate a card, it doesn't matter. I get to draw a card off of the back of this. Okay, so we draw into Fallen the Virtuous. This is where it gets a little bit busted, because if it was a spell card, then you get to set it, and if it was a trap or a quick play spell card, you get to activate this turn. So I can set the Fallen the Virtuous, and I can use it this turn. That's when you really want to make sure that once you've used Dragoon to negate, so discard the Molchami Fualos, because this is going to get banished during the end phase, use Magician's Rod. So as long as a spell or trap card is activated while this card is in the graveyard, tribute a spellcaster and add it back to the hand. So what you do is you get to a point where you're like, okay, cool, I'm kind of happy now. Even if you get to the end phase, you go Fallen the Virtuous, use the effect, send Albion. Now, obviously, if you didn't draw this, you would obviously do the tribute, you would do the negate off a Dragoon first, then you'd activate Dominus Impulse, and then you activate Rod to tribute off the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. So you do that, you destroy 1 card, use Rod's effect in the graveyard, tribute off the Dragoon because it's going to go anyway, add this back to the hand so we've got the starter to go again. Resolve the Albion. Albion will then get you your Fallen and Virtuous number 2. There we go. So that's now set on the field. We now get to shuffle up, draw for turn. So what we've got here is we've got a draw for the Dark Magicians, we've got a negating destruction off a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, we used a Dominus Impulse, and to be honest, we probably used the Ash Blossom and the Fallen and the Virtuous. So we draw for turn, Illusion of Chaos, absolutely fine. Let's say we start off with the Fallen and the Virtuous, so send in Ecclesia. Now remember, the Dominus Impulse we had was set on the field, so we can still use light effects, which is really important that we set one. Send the Ecclesia, destroy a card, trigger off the Dark Magicians, draw a card. Always Fualos, but free discard fodder, I guess. And now you can use the Ecclesia effect, put itself and the Albion. I think you can actually, if this card's in your graveyard, target a level 8 fusion monster in your graveyard. It can put back Dragoon. And 1 card on the field, return both of these back. So we'll put the Dragoon back, which is actually quite nice. Put those back. Send another card. Just trying to think where we're at. We've drawn for this already. We've got this, and then you just go, cool. Normal summon down Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod's effect. Grab us Gaze. Wherever it may be. Grab us Gaze. I could use Illusion of Chaos. Keep Illusion of Chaos in the hand. Get us Magician's Souls. Wherever it may be. I mean, you can play this differently if you want to. Entirely up to you. The other is I've still got Dominus Impulse that could protect. I can use the Tomias United Dragon to fuse if I want to. So we've got all of these now. I've got to put a card back, so we'll put back the Fuelos. We can use Magician's Souls. We'll send Dark Magician, and we'll summon the Dark Magician because I don't actually need to do anything else here. There we go. That goes to the graveyard. Now I can use Tomias United Dragon. I can like hard fuse Dark Magician and Tomias United Dragon. Get me into Red Eyes Dark Dragoon again. So I've now got the negate back live. I can then use the Gaze to put back Dark Magician back into the deck. This can then get me access to a number of options. I could go Master of Chaos. If I plan to go Master of Chaos, then I wouldn't use the Tomias Dragon because this will be the... actually, it doesn't matter. I can still go Master of Chaos. What am I talking about? So we go Master of Chaos. And then if it's fusing something, you get to target a light or dark monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So let me just double check I don't have any other lights. No. So we'll special summon back the Tomias United Dragon. And then you contribute a light and a dark monster to banish all monsters your opponent controls. So we'll get rid of our Magician's Rod and Tomias United Dragon. Banishes all your opponent's monsters. And then you've got 6/8/8 there. Like, overkill. Massively overkill. But just quite a lot that you can do. So that was like test stand number 1 with pretty much no interactions from our opponent, which is obviously going to be rare in this day and age. So, yeah. Now what we'll do is we'll shuffle up. We'll go first again. Now we'll take some interactions from our opponent. I feel like the most commonly ones you're going to be looking at are like Fuelos. Keep in mind that this is going to be like turn number 1. So our opponent's not going to know what we're on. So you're going to go with the cards that are in the main decks right now. So Ash Blossom, Fuelos are probably the most common out of all the decks you could possibly face. You could consider Dominus Impulse, that would be deck specific. You could consider Infinite Impermanence, Effect Veiler, maybe Ghost Ogre at a bit of a push, and maybe Drone Lock Bird. I think Nibiru is kind of one of these cards. It's a weird one as well. You just need to be a little bit aware of it and be a bit cautious. So we'll shuffle up, we'll cut up, we'll do another test stand going first, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, again, absolutely good hand. So let's start off with Ready Fusion. If you want to bait something out, you can go for your Dark Magician, the Illusion. So actually, that's probably the better way of doing it. So we want to bait something out. So let's go with our Dark Magician Girl, Magician's Apprentice. We would discard. Now this is going to be the biggest question around. Is Secrets of Dark Magic can still get us a play, so that'd be very risky if we get rid of this. What would we discard? I would keep this to make sure I've got a spell that can be activated. But then I could use this as the spell to be activated as well. Wow, this is actually a little bit more difficult than I thought. Because if I discard the Tomias, which does naturally seem like the best way of doing it, if my opponent interacts with this, like if they target this, I can actually chain the Secrets of Dark Magic and then use this as fusion material, the Magician's Souls, to get me the Dark Magicians. So that would be like gold if they try and target this card. Otherwise, the benefit of keeping the Tomias is if they completely negate this. I don't know how they would, but like however you... An Ash Blossom is fine because I still just go, cool, Ready Fusion, Secret of Dark Magic, tribute this off and off I go. But even if they completely negate this, the benefit would be is that Magician's Souls can summon Dark Magician, and then Tomias can then be used to fuse into Dragoon. So maybe we don't start with the Dark Magician Girl, Magician's Apprentice. I'm trying to be as respectful of all interactions as possible. Like the most respectful way is you'd go Magician's Souls, send in Dark Magician. Now the only thing this becomes an issue on is if your opponent plays Dominus Impulse. Because if your opponent plays Dominus Impulse, then you get nothing. Like you send Dark Magician as cost, you try to resolve the Souls, and Souls just gets negated. But if you do resolve that, keep in mind your opponent cannot Ash you. Then again, you've got two options. Like, you can try and tribute off a Secret of the Dark Magic, but that's not going to get you anywhere. I mean, actually, we lose all of our discard either way that I do this. Because you would go... You'd have to then go Secret of the Dark Magic to fuse these two for Dragoon, which then gets rid of all of this. And then, I suppose you use your Dark Magician as fodder. So we'd go into Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. We've got rid of all of these, right? You'd hold this back, so you've got your discard of that. So you'd activate the Ready Fusion, get your Sandwich, you'd banish the Sandwich, and go into Dark Magician Destruction. So as this currently stands, the only point that your opponent could have possibly interacted with you would have been on Magician's Salves, which would have been Dominus Impulse. And if they burn the Dominus Impulse there, you still have... They wouldn't be able to destroy it. So you'd have your discard fodder, because they wouldn't have another trap card in the graveyard. So you'd maintain your discard fodder for your Dark Magician's Apprentice, and then you'd still have your secrets to then fuse off. So now we're in this position here. This is like the first time your opponent can like properly interact with you. If your opponent wants to imperm this, you're like, well, do I value the search off of this? Which, to be fair, with the hand we've got, you probably would. The only reason you would do this is they would have to match this with an Ash and an imperm, or an Ash and a Nibiru. They would like, and even then, we're not even in Nibiru territory, are we? One summon. So 1, 2, 3. So we're not even in Nibiru territory. So if they want to interact with us here, we'd go Dragoon. Dragoon would then get us... we'd resolve the Dark Magician of Destruction. We'd go into Rod. Normal summon down Rod. Okay, so this is summon number 4, so we're not in Nibiru territory yet. I've added the Rod here. And if they want to go, cool, Droll, you're like, all right, that's a little bit annoying, but I'd be quite happy to hold back the Magician's Rod, if I'm being totally honest with you. Because then they would have burnt an interaction here, they would have burnt Droll, so they would have burnt 2 cards straight away. I suppose the other worst thing, well no, because even if they were to go Fuelos off of Souls, you're like, okay, I'll give you 1 draw off of Dragoon, 2 off of Destruction. But it's still not that big of an issue. And if they Droll you here, you just stick with this one. If you're worried about Droll, you'd probably just go for Gaze. Because then, honestly, I'd probably go Gaze, and then my opponent would be like, all right, cool, Droll. And you're like, fine. Would I set one on pass? I mean, I could set one on pass. It wouldn't be that big of an issue. Or I would go Gaze, put back Dark Magician. You just wouldn't have a discard. So your negate would be relying on this drawing you a card. Would be one way of doing it. So yeah, I mean, like, there's just loads of different options. I think even if you were to go Rod, normal the Rod, grab you Gaze, you still don't have the discard for your Dragoon now because you've used it. So you're still kind of forced. Are we that forced? I don't think it's that big of an issue, to be honest, because I think we would then just go, cool, these have both done what they need to do. Get rid of both of these. Go into IP. You'd still need to hold the Gaze. No, I still wouldn't hold the Gaze, I guess. I guess you still have to activate the Gaze. You put your Dark Magician Destruction back. And then I would be forced in this particular moment to go into the Dark Magicians. So that when my opponent activates a spell card during their turn, I'll draw a card. Doesn't matter what it is, it's not getting used. It's just going to be my discard fodder for this. This is going to get banished during the end phase. So I make sure I use IP Masquerena with the Dark Magicians to get me into SP. SP banishes, and then SP effect, target and banish. So that then comes back. So I've still got the Dragoon negate, so we'll use that. So far, when we're trading off with our opponent, we traded 1 interaction on Dark Magician of Destruction with our negate for Dragoon. They would then need another form of interaction on Magician's Rod to stop it getting Gaze. Or if you're worried about Magician Rod being interacted with, you go for Gaze anyway. And then activate the Gaze to tag it out into the Dark Magicians to give you draw capability. Like, that's the one very, very important thing with this deck in general, is you need to be a little bit ahead in regards to your discards. Because you'll naturally discard for your Shining Sarcophagus package, you'll naturally need a discard for your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. And then all of your cards are still going to, like, you've not got one card that's going to lead into the other, and the other. So when you start eating interactions, your hand advantage starts to dwindle really, really fast. And you need to make sure that you have cards that are contingencies to give you cards back to your hand, like the Magician's Rod, or cards that give you draws like the Dark Magicians, which is why I quite like using the Dark Magicians. Anyway, we're going to shuffle up. We're now going to do a test stand going second. So it's all about breaking my opponent's field apart a little bit. And then we will go second, but in a natural scenario, your opponent's going to have interactions with you when they're going second. Like, that's a no-brainer. So after another decent shuffle and a good old cut, our open hand of 6 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I've definitely fired off a Dominus Impulse. And then 6. Illusion of Chaos. Okay. This is quite an interesting hand, actually. So we'll start off with Shrine Sarcophagus. Now, our opponent cannot destroy this with monster effects, so it has to be destroyed by a spell or trap effect. In this scenario here, this will require a discard, which I don't think I really want to do. It would get the Shrine Sarcophagus back, so I would have a discard for it. But if I just want to get a monster to the field, you're probably better off just going for the Dark Magician of Black Magic. I mean, I'd have the Ready Fusion. I just don't think there's anything in this hand I want to discard. Now, if they droll me here, again, it sucks. Like, droll is your worst enemy. It is so badly your worst enemy. If they fooey you here as well, like if they fooey you... I mean, I don't think there's a point... Apart from Gaze, there's not a point where they can... Or even Ready Fusion. You activate Ready Fusion and they... if they then fooey you, that will suck. But again, we're going second, so your opponent's not going to fooey you. What I want to do is... I want to keep Impulse, because I can use this to negate one of my opponent's effects. Here, I would literally just be able to go, cool, Special Summon down, Dark Magician of Black Magic. I kind of like this being Dark Magician on the field. So let's activate Ready Fusion. Let's get into Dark Magician of Destruction. We're going to want to use Dark Magician Destruction's effect. It's probably going to get interacted with. I'll be amazed if this doesn't get interacted with, but again, we're going to go on the assumption that it doesn't. Actually, to be honest, let's go with that it does get interacted with, because I think you're going to be crazy if your opponent doesn't have anything to interact with you here. Like, you're going second, 100% this gets interacted with. You go, okay, cool, Illusion of Chaos. Unless the card they try to interact with summons a monster to try and destroy this, then Dominus Impulse. Illusion of Chaos, grab your Magician's Rod, put the Illusion of Chaos back. It's the least effective card for you right now. Normal Summon Magician's Rod, effect, trying to grab the Gaze. Maybe they interact with you here. Let's go again, worst case scenario, they interact with you here. It sucks, but you still have plays to make. Go Magician's Souls, send Dark Magician. This one we are going to be believing in the heart of the cards though. But we would have eaten 2 interactions here. So we do this. We then Special Summon down the Magician's Souls. Don't know why it's in attack mode. Let's put it in defense mode. Magician's Souls will then send... If you want to get greedy, you send 2, but we'd just send 1 guaranteed to draw a card. I mean, that's the heart of the cards for you. If we didn't get Gazer Timaeus, let's see where we could go. Would I be okay? Possibly. Like, the fact that these are Dark Magicians on the field is actually quite important, because you've now got the issue is none of these are dragons. It would have been really nice if any of these were dragons. But I feel this is where Proxy F Magician comes into play. Oh, no, it's not. It's where our Synchros come into play. Wow, this is where our Synchros come into play. So we get rid of both of these. Go into Chaos Angel. That causes issues straight away, because Chaos Angel now banishes a card, and then monsters under control cannot be destroyed by battle. So they now need to start interacting with us. And if they don't start interacting with us, I mean, Proxy F doesn't do anything for us here. You probably have to go into SP Little Knight. You'd probably have to go both of these into SP. SP banish a card. You'd have to go battle phase to attack and then attack. And this is all on the assumption that we don't draw Gaze. Like, whatever we draw off the top of the deck is of no use to us whatsoever. And then we Dominus Impulse one of our opponent's cards. Now, if we were to take Gaze into account, I'd activate Gaze here. I would put back Dark Magician of Destruction. And I mean, if I haven't used Dominus Impulse, I'm going to Dragoon. But if I have used Dominus Impulse, I'm probably going to go either into Timaeus United Dragon, or I'm going to Master of Chaos. I mean, because I'm going second, let's go Master of Chaos. I'm not going to be able to banish my opponent's stuff, but I can still bring back a Dark can still target a light or dark monster in the graveyard and special summon it. It doesn't have to go to defense. So let's special summon back Dark Magician, the Magician of Black Magic. Only use each effect once per turn. If Shining Sarcophagus in the field, you get special summon this card from hand. If this card is destroyed by card effect, and a level 5 or higher monster is on the field, you get special on this card. Then you can set a spell from the deck that mentions Dark Magician. So this is where we would currently be. We wouldn't be able to attack directly because we've used SP's effect. But 35, 25, 3k would be quite a big chunk. And then you pass your turn. And at this point, we've got SP Little Knight, Banish and Banish. Annoyingly, we can't activate a spell card, so we can't trigger off our own Rod to get that back. But still, like, none of these could be destroyed by battle. You've got Chaos Angel there, just making it really awkward. And then if this gets destroyed by card effect, to get a set, a spell, or trap that mentions Dark Magician. So again, not perfect, but what I'm trying to say is you're eating interactions. Like, we didn't get to resolve Dark Magician and Destruction, and we didn't get to resolve Magician's Rod in any of that. And yet we were still able to present a fairly formidable field. I always forget about this. It's like, sometimes because of the synchro options I've put in this deck, I always forget about them. But there's a lot of space in the extra deck to still mess around with it. I still like the Azamena package as well. That's something that I definitely want to be testing out. I just like the fact that it can kind of snowball into Sylvie for you, which can be really, really important. But I also still like to maintain the access to Chaos Angel. I like the idea of Proxy F Magician. Maybe that it's just a little bit of cope and spice, but that could be a space that could be freed up as well. Anyway, let's do our last test stand guy in second. We'll play it exactly like we did with the other test stand, where we're just going to eat some forms of interaction. Sometimes they'll be negating destroyers, but more times they'll be like negates. So we'll try and resolve those as much as possible. So after our final cut and our final shuffle, our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Definitely been impulsed and ashed. And then our final card will be 6. Okay, I mean, again, not a bad start to go with. Our opponent's field is going to be a little bit weaker because of Impulse and Ash. There is no point in starting with Soul Servant. It just doesn't really get you anywhere. You have to start with Shining Sarcophagus, or you have to start with Magician's Rod, whichever one you think is going to be... I mean, Normal Summon Rod, that's the biggest bait ever. Like, your opponent's going to interact with it. And then you get to go, cool, Shining Sarcophagus. This will then grab us your... again, I don't think we go for the Dark Magician Girl. Like, I just don't think we need... Yes, I get the discard and get a Shining Sarcophagus, but I honestly don't think I need it. It would just be like a bit of a greedy play, because I'd go this, and I'd have to discard one of these, which would have to be this. But this can get me access to Gaze, so I don't want to do that. So I'm probably just going to go... let's go Dark Magician. Banish the Dark Magician. Go into Destruction. Destruction effect. Let's say they interact with it on this one, okay? Now, if they negate it completely, it's fine. We'll work around it. But what you do is you'd go, to work around it, you'd put both of these into the graveyard, go into an SP Little Knight, use SP to kind of bait something out, like interact with your opponent, and then go Soul Servant. Now, again, you've got 2 options here. Option number 1 is you believe in the heart of the cards and you go for your Magician Souls. Option number 2, you don't believe in the heart of the cards and you just go as aggressive as you possibly can. If you go as aggressive as you possibly can, you'd go for Gaze, you'd banish this, grab the Gaze, activate Gaze, put Dark Magician Destruction back. You could go for Dragoon, but with only 1 card in hand, like 1 discard in hand, and Impulse is still an interactive card, it's probably not ideal. You could go for the Chaos, again, if you wanted to, but the Chaos could only bring back Magician's Rod. So, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to believe in the heart of the cards again. So we'll go for Soul Servant, we'll stack Magician's Souls, we will banish Soul Servant to draw said Magician's Souls. We will then shuffle up, because we are going to, oh no, not shuffle up, what am I talking about? We're going to send Dark Magician from the deck to the grave first, we're going to summon out Magician's Souls, and we're just going to get greedy. So, these are all hypotheticals. You'd have to make your decision as to whether you're sending 1 or 2. We are going to be sending the first one, drawing a card. Not much. I mean, it does okay. Send the other one, draw a card. Always fool us. Always fool us. Okay, this puts us in a bit of a pickle. How big of a pickle does this put us in? Oh, yo, this is so funny. This is so funny. Ready Fusion, summon Sandwich, send Magician's Soul, send SP Little Knight for Chorozo, synchro Chorozo with Sandwich, Chaos Angel banish. I mean, the card in our hand is 100% dead. And then we have nothing else whatsoever. But, I mean, I probably would have been better keeping the Dominus Impulse. I just find that pretty funny. Yeah, not perfect. But again, we didn't resolve Rod. We didn't resolve the Dark Magician of Destruction. And, yeah, we were able to get here. So, really kind of cool. Really cool. I enjoy the deck. I think the new cards are absolutely amazing. It does make me question how important Eternal Soul is and how important Dark Magical Circle is. I would probably argue that Dark Magical Circle is more important than Eternal Soul, and I would be highly considering playing the third Gaze in the space of the second Eternal Soul. That's kind of like what I'm thinking about right now, but that's something I still need to test. I'm not sold on this card anymore. I just feel that it's too much of a liability to lose your field, and it doesn't do what you want it to do. In regards to, like, yeah, bring back Dark. Like, this should have had True Light effect. This should have had the effect that if it's sent to the graveyard, destroy all your cards. But the fact that it's like, oh, if it's just if it leaves the field while face up is really, really annoying. Because they can return it to the hand, nuke. They can banish it, nuke. Graveyard, nuke. The only time it doesn't nuke is if it goes back to the deck. And at this moment in time, because we don't have a card that can chain to put the Eternal Soul back to the deck, like, there's nothing we can do to stop the field nuke, which is really, really annoying. Anyway, I hope this gives you a bit more of an insight into the deck, how it works, what it wants to try and achieve. I enjoy it. I'm not by any means saying that this is the best version of the deck, because I don't believe it is. I feel that the best version is the Azamina version, just purely for the fact that it can get you access to the Sylvie, and that gives you that additional negate, gives you another layer of protection, disruption, you name it. I feel the deck will massively struggle against Drow and Lockbird, but in a benefit to us, Drow and Lockbird is now at 2, so it's not as consistently effective as it might have been pre-list. But that's just another bit of my thoughts in regards to the deck. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.